Coins like XRP have made more than a 100% recovery since this absolutely huge liquidation event. Right now, I'm going to be covering some of the latest news. We've seen huge recoveries on all of the top coins, basically nearly trading back at where this liquidation event. Don't forget, if you do enjoy, smash a like and subscribe. This first piece of news I want to cover is a brand new wallet. Just 30 minutes before this major crash happened, opened a short and was able to make over 88 million in profit. Clearly an insider trader, and basically the biggest benefit of being around Trump, or maybe even being around the White House, is having access to this news before it's going to go live, and taking massive advantage of that. Unfortunately, so many traders were liquidated, as I did show you in the last video I posted, that there was more than a 10% arbitrage opportunity between some different coins. See right here, even just between Solana, more than 10%. This was basically just a huge liquidation event, even just taking advantage of a lot of people, especially on Binance, who are, more retail traders in comparison to institutional players. Next thing we see here, the same whale that actually shorted and made that 88 mil is now in another short for 160 mil. So we can actually see the exact same wallet opening another position. One thing that I do like to cover is like the overall longs versus shorts. So here on the exchange, where we can cover BTC long and short, my favorite is to look at Binance, because Binance is usually the more retail, heavy exchange. So when we see that 45% long, or 45% long, 55% short, it sort of tells me which way is the squeeze against retail traders. Basically 10% difference. So I would say the squeeze against the traders would actually be to go long, because a lot more are short in this current market. But we do see, as I just mentioned in this last announcement, has opened up another short, but I'm not sure how reliable this is. Really, that insider trader was just taking advantage of that 30 minutes in news, not really, looking to long-term trade. I don't believe he's a long-term trader. Even here, we have seen basically all coins up massive, even BNB being one of the biggest gainers of the top 10. There's a lot of volume coming back. So it definitely means there's a little bit of short volume, because how much we're up in comparison to the volume. Even BNB seeing the biggest in terms of volume, it just makes sense, because the meme coin market has really been, absolutely crazy right now. Let's go over to here that we have the top gainers. And within this section, that's where we see even the BNB top gainers really taking advantage. We're seeing nearly $1 billion in volume, already up 60%. Banana, Tag, Duck, Useless. So a lot of these BNB coins really taking over. Even when we look at the price, BNB really back up over 50%, basically trading back at that liquidation price. This is one thing that's really clear to me. It shows in the overall underlying price and the overall underlying price action which particular coins are the strongest. And when we compare it to other coins like Solana, Ethereum, we can just see that BNB is clearly the strongest. So the overall underlying ecosystem behind BNB is very, very strong. So even don't forget to check out that last video. I actually went over the BNB meme coin space, how to get involved, and all the websites you need. This is also the way that I like to take advantage of the short-term opportunities, because here, obviously Solana's done very well, 31% volume boost, and it was up nearly 10% in a really short amount of time. But right now, it's clearly that the BNB space is the biggest, up nearly more than double Solana and over triple the overall volume. So definitely something you need to take into account. Gold is also a very interesting one to go over. Since this breakout of this, symmetrical triangle that I actually mentioned many, many months ago, let's actually look at overall increase more than 22%. we saw that type of increase actually flow into BTC. That type of inflow would actually push the price to more than 500,000. So there's definitely a lot of potential, but that would probably come in the next cycle. One thing that I do like to show here, so I can actually go over that in another video. So if you do want, leave a comment and let me know that you want me to make a real in-depth video on the 4-year cycles or even cycles in general, because here I'm using the 60-day cycles. One very important point of the current Bitcoin 60-day cycle is that we are right translated, which means in this 60-day cycle between these 2 points right here, this is the midpoint. And where is the high in this current 60-day cycle? Well, it's actually to the right-hand side of this midpoint, which when in a bullish market, we want the top to be in the right-hand translated, as it's doing exactly now. So that just shows that we have high probability for this next 60-day cycle between around the end of October until the end of December. This 60-day cycle then has another high chance of breaking above this high. But then what we need to then take focus on, is it going to be left translated, which if we get a high in the left side of the midpoint, that's going to be bearish. The reason that's bearish is because in this 60-day cycle, if we say only rise for 15 days and then fall for 45 days, it's just overall showing that there's a lot more bearish momentum. Whereas in a play like here, say when we're rising for something like 35 to 40 days, and then we fall for 20 days, it just shows in this overall cycle, we're having a much larger rising portion. So that's really a small little overview of how I'm playing BTC in this short to even medium term, because then we can scroll out and not play only these daily cycles, but then we can scroll out and actually play these weekly cycles. And there's quite a bit of confluence right here on the weekly cycle, where this next weekly cycle ends around the end of December, which also lines up with the next daily cycle. So there we do have a bit of confluence potentially lining up to show, is this going to be left translated? Or what could happen, which is another potential, is in this, we do have another 40 weekly cycle, 40 weeks. We could get a really quick left translated in this 40 weeks. So say we top in the first 10 weeks, and then we have 30 weeks or more of descending prices. So this is definitely something to stay up to date for, and something that I'll be constantly updating with you in future videos. Looks pretty clear to me, especially when we scrolled out on longer term time frame, like the weekly. All we've done is just retest this 20 EMA, which is one of my favorite indicators that you'd know if you've been watching a lot from the past. All we've done is retest this price, and it's very likely to get that continuation to the upside. A lot of other coins, like say Sol, isn't looking as strong. We did come back and retest this weekly, but really it could, all that looks like it's going to happen is potentially just poke through this old all-time high, maybe at 320, 330, and then have potentially that strong decline. Whereas BTC looks like, you know, that 150 is very, very likely, even though this path to getting there has been extremely volatile. So if you have enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe, because I'll see you in the next one.